If you're not sure what your purpose is, ask yourself these 4 questions for some assistance. Number 1, what am I good at? Number 2, what do I enjoy doing? Number 3, how can I help others with my idea? Number 4, can I get paid for it? Take a moment and ponder your answer, as it should give you some direction on where to go next. That is part of the book, Live Your Dash, written by Jesse Cruz. What does it take to get to the next level, to have a breakthrough moment? What are the strategies? What are the tactics? How do we overcome in order to be able to have that breakthrough moment? Those are the questions we answer here on Strategy Rewind. Today's guest is a speaker, an author, a coach, and a worldwide connector. He builds communities and brings people together and lift them up to have a breakthrough moment. He is a friend of the podcast and a friend of mine. Mr. Jesse Cruz, thank you so much for being here today.
Miguel, thank you so much. It is an honor to be back with you on this podcast.
It's a big moment here, Jesse. It's a big moment. Not only are you the first guest to come on twice on this podcast, but we're celebrating today episode 30 of this podcast.
Oh, shoot. Okay. That's an honor.
The last time you were on the podcast, we were on episode 2, and we were talking about dealing with grief. In that particular episode, I spoke about my experience with the passing of my mother, and you spoke about the experience of the passing of your daughter. Of course, that also spawned the book, Losing Faith, Finding Hope, which is a powerful book. But today I want to speak about your first book, which was Live Your Dash, Discovering the 8 F's to Freedom. For those who aren't familiar with the book, talk a little bit about the book itself.
Yes. So for people who are unfamiliar with the term Live Your Dash, when a person is born, that date is on the left. The time they expire, that date is on the right. That dash is the time in the middle. And although that dash makes a small part of a tombstone, it's a huge portion of your life. So that is the purpose, the reason, the design, the goal, the plan that your life is going towards. So how do you live your dash? Well, the book breaks down these 8 different areas and how to live the most purposeful life.
There's this awesome line in your book where you say, without proper vision of what is near and what is yet to come, your ability to envision a prosperous life is limited, end quote. Oftentimes, our vision is limited by fear. So talk a little bit about how we can leverage fear and our emotions in order to be able to have that prosperous life.
Yeah, I think most people spend a significant amount of time running from fear, trying to avoid it at all costs. And truthfully, it's the moments of fear that we have. It's understand what triggers the fear, what is causing the fear, what is the root of the fear, and then going towards it anyways in a healthy, safe way. So I think fear can be one of the most healthy things if it's not all consuming us to the point where we're paralyzed and not able to act and make a decision, but rather that fear can be a guide to show us what not to do in certain situations that can prepare us for opportunities of courage.
There are 2 chapters that focus on friendship dash, and then friendship dash part 2. And in friendship dash part 2, there's a section titled friendship, which the center of the word friendship is a capital END. In that particular part of the book, you talk about how there are no friendships and yes friendships. I'm not going to give it away for those who haven't read the book yet, but talk a little bit about the importance of knowing the difference between a yes friendship and a no friendship.
So depending on the person, I'll use myself personally. This is my own standard of kind of friendships that I look for. I want to become friends with men who I want my daughters to marry. That's the standard that I set. So, when my daughters grow up, I want to surround myself with men that are role models and good men that they will want to be married to someday, because I want to show them what a man is supposed to look like. So if I'm looking at down the road, I'm like, is this the kind of person that will help me in my marriage? Is this the kind of person that will help me become a better father? Is this the kind of person that help me be better in my faith? Is this the kind of person to help me grow in my business, to serve and give back to my community? If these are all no's, that's a huge red flag, right? Not everybody's going to be a father, so they shouldn't be disqualified. Not everyone's a husband, so they shouldn't be disqualified. But if they're not falling into any of those 5, 6 categories in my life that are most important, chances are that's probably not a relationship that is going to be life-giving to me. It's going to be more draining. So it's just making the decision, what are the most important areas in my life? And are the people in my life helping me grow here, or are they keeping me from it?
There's a scenario you present in the book where you talk about, imagine if everyone was given $10 million, and that if we checked back on those individuals, or if we checked back on everyone, who would have 10 million left, or who would be the person to multiply that, or who would be the person to just find themselves back in poverty. And in that particular chapter, you talk about the fact that we cannot control, right, what family tree we come from. We can't control those things. But I love this line. You said you still have the choice on what to do with your family legacy. And oftentimes we can be so focused on the future that we forget legacy will last forever. Talk a little bit about that perspective that we should have.
Yeah, I think it's one of the key things for any successful person, no matter what you're going through, no matter the failure, no matter the setback or the challenge, when a person understands completely that they have the ability to be grateful in any moment, their whole life can change. That beat in your heart, the breath in your lungs, the fact that you're alive, when a person slows down long enough to be thankful for those simple things that happen every single day, their whole life would be completely different, because although we may be in a pursuit of many different things that we're trying to achieve, and that's good, but if you're not thankful for what you have, you most likely will not be thankful for what you get. So a person who's thankful for what they have already has enough, but also has the ambition and drive to continue to grow and to create those opportunities for others.
You know, you're absolutely right. The fact is that it's not about how much we have or don't have. It really is that gratitude. And in the pursuit of greatness, gratitude matters so much. Of course, I've often said it, we should surround ourselves with people who will nourish our vision. And one of the things you touch on the book is this strategy on how we can find out who a good friend is, or what that friend actually expects from us. You talk about asking your friends these questions. What are the 3 most important things they need from you in that friendship? And that this brought perspective to you. I'll admit, I applied that and it brought perspective to me in my relationships also.
And that's so important, because especially in our personal relationships, because your friends literally influence what you do. That's for everybody, and your spouse is another perfect example of that. And so we could be thinking a relationship is thriving and growing, but to the other person, they could think it's damaging and destructive, because we haven't had that conversation yet. So it's just literally being bold enough to ask what that person, because we may think we know a person, and then they tell us something, what, this is what I'm looking for, and I'm getting one out of these 3 things, but these other 2 are really standing out. So it's like having that list of three things that are life-giving to this relationship, and then being able to make the adjustments to make sure that relationship is thriving and growing.
In your book, Live Your Dash, Discovering the 8 F's to Freedom, you talk about focus, friendship, fitness, fun, finance, forgiveness, family, and faith. But there's a particular chapter here that I want to talk about, which is the forgiveness effect. And you talk about how it actually alters our perspective. Oftentimes, it's difficult to accept forgiveness, to give forgiveness to others, be willing to let go of those things, but also forgive ourselves. Talk a little bit about the forgiveness effect, because you say to live your dash, you need to forgive.
I've realized that any moments in my relationships where I was not able to forgive a person, I thought in that moment I was at some sort of advantage over them. I'm better than them. I'm smarter than them. I'm wiser than them. In all actuality, I was the biggest fool in the whole situation. Even if that person was 100% wrong and had every right and reason to be mad with them, the longer I hold a grudge, the longer my peace is delayed. So one of the wisest things a person can do is when the offense happens, because we will get hurt, people will hurt our feelings. That's part of life. But the distance between the time of the offense And the time that you forgive, the shorter you can get that time span, the more peace and joy you'll have in your life. And for years, I spent long time keeping that gap really wide. From the time I got hurt to the time I forgave was very, very long. And in between that gap, I was suffering and struggling. So I've learned to forgive quickly and keep short accounts because I want to have a peaceful life. And any person who is not able to forgive is not able to fully love and not fully able to have peace.
Live Your Dash, Discovering the 8 F's to Freedom is the name of the book. Jesse Cruz is the author, and he is here today with us on Strategy Rewind. Jesse, I'm so excited for the success that you're having, but not just this, you are a worldwide connector. You have actually created a platform which is Merge Worldwide so that other individuals can connect, can embrace, can root for each other, and can actually have a breakthrough moment. So for those who are not familiar with Merge Worldwide, please let them know about the amazing things you're all doing.
Yeah, so Merge Worldwide is my wife and I, we run this company together. And our mission is that we want to empower the riches of community through the power of sharing stories. So we have speakers at our events. We have people connect and build community because we believe personal development comes before professional growth. And a lot of times people are trying to grow professionally without first growing personally. And that's where the strain and the tension comes in. So we're able to create an environment where people can love and trust and support, because we believe that a community can take any person to the whole next level once they have people in their lives who truly believe in their dream and want to support them. And it's able to take a person from self-doubt to self-confidence. And that happens when a person invests in themselves, invests in their community of supports, and we come together and we decide that we want better out of life and we can do this better together.
Jesse, for those who are listening and want to get connected with you, with Merge Worldwide and all of the amazing things you're doing, let them know how they could do so.
Yeah, so they can contact me on Facebook as Jesse Cruz or on Instagram, Jesse Cruz Speaks. You can email me directly, author jessecruz@gmail.com. We have some great events coming up, so be on the lookout for that.
I'm so grateful that you would be connected with Strategy Rewind. Thank you so much. And thank you to today's guest. Head over to the show notes of this episode where you'll find their details so you can connect with them. But if you want to take a bigger leap towards your breakthrough moment, there in the show notes, you'll also find a link where you can set up a free 30-minute strategy session with me. It's imperative that you put these strategies to work so that you can have a breakthrough moment.